things, even though the tar sands will be going through the pipeline. XL already has a big pipeline system that runs through that area. With the XL pipeline, they want to cut off sort of the angle that the pipeline path takes, and it's going to take it through the Nebraska sandhills, and that is where I have an environmental problem, because that's a very sensitive area. There's a lot of unique wildlife in there, some of the remnant parts of the prairie. The pipeline itself, I don't have a huge problem with, because we have thousands and thousands of miles of oil and gas pipelines all over the place. They run right through our backyard. We hardly even notice they're there, and we really don't have any problems with them. I could show you maps of where these things run. The tar sands I do have a problem with. Even though the oil is important for energy independence, and we use a lot of oil in this country, it's a problem because it requires so much water to process, and then it leaves a devastated landscape behind. And so it's kind of like coal mining, but in some ways even worse. So I have some problems with that. And since those projects are tied, I'd have to say I guess I'm against the XL pipeline for those two issues. But the pipeline itself is getting a lot of press, that like a pipeline is necessarily a bad thing. And again, that's just part of our infrastructure. We have a lot of them around, and they seem to work okay. And so I think the other thing that we should be putting a lot of effort into when we're thinking about protesting the pipeline and going down to Washington, we should be really looking at the auto companies and getting them to go for greater fuel efficiency. Should be looking at more electric and natural gas automobiles. We have a lot of natural gas supply in this country. In fact, we burn off a lot of the gas that we can't use, and that is a clean burning fuel. It doesn't have any of the problems of some of the other fossil fuels. It burns a little cleaner. And so more energy efficiency, also moving homes onto more solar energy and wind power, increasing our electric supplies from renewable sources, and that would lower our energy demand on things like the tar sands. But the auto companies have been fighting greater fuel efficiency for a long time, and they only do it when the federal government says they have to make it more efficient. So we should be able to get 45 or 50 miles a gallon out of cars instead of the 23 to 30 that we normally get. And so that would save an awful lot of energy.
But what I have heard are very disparate estimates about employment and so forth. When they talk about creating 20,000 to 30,000 jobs tops in an economy with 156 million jobs, I know whether they're for or against the project. That's not a fundamentally very intelligent argument. It's one that's designed to sway people politically. What I do know is that the project will probably have enormous benefits, but it might also have enormous costs. I think if we don't have more honest debates about those issues, try to estimate those to the best extent we can, we'll get a worse result instead of a better one. So I would urge a more honest, open debate, a more scientific debate where we question things, try to measure things as best we can, and don't become our own worst enemies by pretending that we know more than we do. Get on with the job of estimating both costs and benefits, weigh the two against each other, and at least you'll have a better chance of making a better decision for ourselves and for our progeny. As an economist, one other thing I'd like to emphasize, we're always obsessed about costs and benefits. And the difficulty in measuring those things. However, this also provokes in our mind the question, compared to what? If somebody says, this cost me this, I say, compared to what? If it has this benefit, even if you can measure that benefit, compared to what? What are the alternatives? What are the counterfactuals? So, for example, with the tar sands, they anticipate this will meet certain energy needs for our country. If we do not get this energy through the tar sands, where will we get it from? Will we get it from dirtier sources like coal? Will we do it from things that if something went wrong tragically, like the nuclear business, where it would cost us dearly there? Another thing, what if it came from off our shores and we depended on it coming from, say, Arabia or Nigeria? Do you want to have two wars every 10 years for the rest of American history? Or should that be tacked on to part of the cost of being less energy independent? So, I mean, we have to understand that we do have these energy needs. We do have to break an egg to make an omelet. You do like the standard of living you enjoy. And the question is costs and benefits, and compared to what? Is it worth it? Does it give us more benefit than cost? And does it give us the most we can hope for, given the other alternatives that we'll have to explore if we do not get these tar sands?